Tonight, you'll hear about a man who discovered a hidden room behind his shower wall, with a camera pointing straight at him, a young woman who kept hearing a baby crying outside her cabin at 3 a.m., and what she saw when she opened the door will chill you to your core, and a delivery driver who thought he was dropping off food until he realized the house wasn't supposed to exist. These aren't just stories, these are warnings. Welcome to Shadow Tales, where darkness takes the mick. Every week we dive into stories you wish were fiction but aren't. Grab your headphones, turn off the lights, let's begin. I had just moved into a new apartment in Chicago. I was 26, fresh out of a breakup, and desperate for something that felt like independence. The building wasn't in the best part of town, and the hallway, always, smelled vaguely like stale cigarettes and cheap cleaning supplies. But it was mine. The apartment was old school. Crown moldings, creaky wooden floors, and those old radiators that bang like someone's knocking inside the walls. I tried to romanticize it. Then one night, about 2 weeks after I moved in, I noticed something odd. The grout between the shower tiles in the bathroom looked wet, like actively wet. I pressed on one tile, it shifted slightly. I pushed harder, and it cracked. That was my first mistake. Behind it wasn't just water damage. There was an actual hole. A small, dark space, almost like a cavity carved into the wall. I got my phone, turned on the flashlight, and peeked in. My heart stopped. There was a camera mounted on a small tripod, aimed directly at the shower. First, my brain refused to process it. Maybe it was an old fixture left by contractors. Maybe someone had hidden it years ago and it no longer worked. I pulled back. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking as I called the police. They arrived in under 10 minutes. When they opened the wall further, what they found was way worse than I imagined. There wasn't just a hole. There was a full-on service crawl space that ran alongside 4 other apartment units. Inside, they found wires, monitors, cigarette butts, beer cans, even a mattress, and they found other cameras. 5 of them, in fact. All pointed into other bathrooms. Whoever had set this up had been living in the crawl space. They arrested the guy the next night. He was a former maintenance worker, fired months earlier. He still had a master key and had been sneaking in and out using a utility hatch in the basement. He'd installed everything himself. The cops said he had hundreds of hours of footage saved. He'd been watching people for months, maybe longer. My apartment had been cheap for a reason, and to this day, I wonder how many showers I took while being watched by someone hiding just a few feet behind the wall. It was supposed to be a peaceful solo retreat. I'd found a listing on a nature retreat site. Small cabin, deep in the Oregon woods, no cell service, no Wi-Fi. Just a wood-burning stove and a stocked bookshelf, exactly what I needed. The first night was perfect. I read under a thick blanket, cooked pasta, and fell asleep listening to the trees whisper outside. But the second night, I woke up cold. Not physically cold, just uneasy. Like the room had changed while I was sleeping. Then I heard it. A faint, crying sound. High-pitched, muffled, like a baby. At first I thought I was dreaming, but the sound repeated, louder, clearer. A baby, crying. Outside the cabin, I looked at the clock, 3:07 a.m. I froze. The closest town was 40 minutes away, the nearest neighbor, 10 miles. There was no reason, no possibility that a baby would be out there. I crept toward the window, looked out. Nothing, just trees swaying gently under moonlight. But I could hear the sound, directly outside the front door now. The cries got sharper, more desperate. I backed away. Panicking, I called the ranger station listed in the cabin welcome book. A man answered, gruff, tired. "Don't open the door," he said immediately. "That's how they lure prey." "What do you mean, they?" He paused. "Coyotes. Sometimes they mimic baby cries. Sometimes other things do too." He hung up. Now I was really shaking. Coyotes mimicking babies. Then it stopped. Total silence. No wind, no animals, just stillness so loud it hurt. Then I heard it, scratching, light at first, then urgent, scraping along the porch floorboards, then slowly tap, tap, tap on the front door. I turned off every light, sat curled on the floor clutching a fireplace poker for what felt like hours. Eventually I heard steps, something crawling, not walking. Then nothing. At sunrise, I opened the door. There were handprints on the glass. 5-fingered, human-looking, but long, almost claw-like, and deep scratch marks on the bottom of the door, as if something had tried to crawl underneath it. I packed up and left that morning. I never went back. The company refunded me the trip. They apologized for the local wildlife. But I know what I heard. I know what I felt. And it wasn't wildlife. I work nights for a food delivery app. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills. I've seen it all. Drunks, weird costumes, even people who stare at you through cracked blinds and never open the door. But last December I got an order I'll never forget. The instructions were weirdly specific. Go past mile marker 17, turn right at the gravel road. Deliver to the White House with the porch light on. Leave food at the door. No knocking. It was far, almost 45 minutes outside the city. I almost declined, but the tip was huge. Over $40, so I drove. Past neighborhoods, past gas stations, then into forested back roads. No lights, no traffic, just blackness and fog. I finally saw the marker, turned onto the gravel road. There it was, a White House, old, 2 stories, paint peeling. But the porch light was on. Just, like they said, something felt off. The air was still, no insects, no movement. I walked up, left the food, took the picture proof. I started to leave, but something told me to turn around, and I saw someone standing in the upstairs window, not moving, just watching. No light in that room, just the outline. A tall figure, completely still. I rushed back to my car. The second I started the engine, the porch light flickered out. I drove as fast as I could. When I got back into service range, I checked the app. Delivery failed. Address does not exist. I stared at the screen, checked the route history. It was still there. Next day, I drove back. Same route, same road, but the house, gone. Just an empty clearing. I drove to a nearby gas station and asked the old man inside. Looked at me, blinked slowly, and said, "White House on the gravel road. That place burned down in 1992, family of 4, whole thing leveled. Nothing's been there since." I showed him the photo I took. His hand trembled as he pointed. "That's the house," he said. I deleted the photo that night. But sometimes, I still see the man in the window. In my dreams, or worse, when I'm driving alone at night and the porch light flickers on. 3 stories. All real, all disturbing. One about a hidden voyeur watching you when you're most vulnerable, another about a predator pretending to be something innocent, and one about a place that isn't supposed to exist, but still answers the door. Which one disturbed you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you're still able to sleep tonight, and if you want more stories that haunt your nights, subscribe now. We'll see you next time, in the shadows.